The Massachusetts Institute for Technology, MIT, describes itself as a community, quote, driven by shared purpose to make a better world through education, research, and innovation, end of quote. Well, from the looks of it, MIT needs to do a better job, a lot better, to live up to that self-description. Consider this. Last Thursday, hundreds of MIT students participated in a rally against Israel. Here it is.
One solution! Intifada revolution! One solution! Intifada revolution! One solution! Intifada revolution!
You can hear the group chanting one solution, Intifada revolution. In Arabic, Intifada means rebellion. The first Intifada was in the 1980s. It was a series of attacks and protests by Palestinians against Israelis. More than 2,300 died. Then in the early 2000s, the second Intifada. It was much bloodier than the last. At least 4,300 people died. Palestinian suicide bombers were used in both uprisings. 2 days after this MIT student protest, MIT President Sally Kornbluth released a video statement. Here's part of it.
I've communicated my staunch support for free speech repeatedly in the past, but I've also been abundantly clear that individual targeting, harassment, or calls to violence are unacceptable. And some of what has been said and done on our campus alarms me. Mass chanting of phrases that harken back to past anti-Semitic horrors or violent attacks on Israelis. The deep tear in the fabric of the Middle East must not become a tear in the social fabric of MIT.
Some Israeli students say they no longer feel safe at MIT. And of course, it's not just those Israeli students. Since Hamas's attack on October 7th, many Jews across the United States have looked into personal security, particularly firearms. The nonprofit Magen provides self-defense classes and gun training to the Jewish community in Los Angeles. Last week, Magen received more than 600 phone calls requesting classes. And yesterday, we reported on the murder of a synagogue board president, Samantha Kroll, in Detroit, Michigan. Today, we called the Detroit Police Department and asked for updates on the investigation into her murder. Their media relations department sent us a memo redirecting us to yesterday's press conference, which was repeating what the police chief said, quote, at this time, no evidence has surfaced suggesting this crime was motivated by anti-Semitism, end of quote. As an aside, there is also apparently no evidence to suggest that it was not. They don't know what's going on. This is an active investigation. Police Chief James White has promised transparency as the case develops. Executive Vice Chair of the Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations, Malcolm Hoenlein, joins me. Good evening, sir. And your thoughts when I read about what's going on at these universities and across the country. I mean, the latest MIT. What are the universities to do?
Well, there's a lot of things they could do. First of all, thank you for taking up the subject and having me, because it's such a vital topic. We're talking about the next generation of leadership in our country. And across the country, we've seen these demonstrations in support of the most blatant terrorists who committed acts similar to what the Nazis, in fact, worse than the Nazis, who try to hide their crimes. I was down there, as I reported earlier on your show 2 weeks ago, and I was again in Israel, came back yesterday. When you learn of how horrific the actions were, and yet these students are demonstrating in support of the Hamas terrorists who carried out these barbaric, inhumane acts. And unfortunately, it's on other campuses as well. They represent a small majority, but they're very vocal. And they often have the backing of professors and others on the campuses. Many students report to us, Jews and non-Jews alike, that they feel unsafe today on those campuses as a result of the fact that the administrations did not act. Now we see donors, we see alumni and others taking actions that are getting the attention of the administration by cutting funding, by taking public stands against the silence of the administrations.
You know, it's hard to figure, like, what's in the heart of these students? Is it, I go through this whole spectrum. I'm thinking, are they just uninformed? They aren't reading what happened on October 7th? Are they, basically, uninformed? Or do they have hate in their hearts? Or are they so, has there been so much propaganda against Jews? I mean, what is this?
I think it's a combination of all of the above. This is the woke culture in its extremists. This is a result of indoctrination. It's a result of ignorance about the history of the region, the current status of the region. This is not a demonstration just against Israel. It's a demonstration against America, against Western values. and will have broader implications. Israel is only the frontline issue right now, but we see that how quickly this morphs and that they join other issues called, when they get sectionalism, when they bring other issues into this one.
Well, we only have a minute left, but tell me, you just got back from Israel. I know what I think about the protests here, and I realize Israelis are very busy dealing with the crisis there, but are they talking about what's going on in these college campuses in Israel?
100%. It's incomprehensible to people who have seen the outrages that were carried out, that American students would gather and speak in favor of this when they would do away with them as well, because anybody who holds America dear and our values dear is an enemy to these terrorist organizations. So it's incomprehensible to them that these student demonstrations, and they are concerned because they believe that it can have a poisonous effect on American society.
And to think that a lot of these students' grandfathers fought in World War II against, this very sort of, anti-Semitism. I wonder what their grandparents, if they were alive, were thinking. Malcolm Hoenlein, thank you very much, sir.
My pleasure. Thank you.